Hi guys, so welcome to another video, and in this video I'm going to talk about how you can put yourself through college in the US. And even if it's possible, it is possible because I did it. Now with this video I'll explain how I did it, and if it's something you could do, then good. If it's something you can't do, then I hope you find the answers you're looking for. I just know when I came, I wish someone told me this those days. So anyways, I'm gonna talk about how I put myself through college. Now, I did it in a city, a big city like Chicago, and I'm still in Chicago as I am right now. And I don't know what schools you're looking at right now, but it's probably easier if you do it in a city. So that's probably a disclaimer. So if you're doing it in the suburbs or in like a smaller city, it's probably still possible. I just don't know if it will be relatable for you, but maybe you could learn some things. So anyways, I came to America when I was 19 years old, and I remember thinking like, okay, back since when I was in Africa, I was like, okay, when I get there, I want to be able to at least help in paying for myself through college. Now, I planned already that I was going to do it. If you're not sure if you're going to do it and your parents can help you, take their help. Because one thing I'm going to tell you, it is not easy. It is simple, but it's not easy. So, one of the biggest things I learned too, by the way, is if you're expected to leave your country and come to America, or even in anything that you're doing, if you start doing something, just know that it's not gonna start by being good. I don't know if you ever seen, this is something that's not new. If you go in the Bible or anywhere, you could learn that if you start anything good for yourself, you would start by going towards the bad side instead of going towards the good side first. Like if you start working out, you're gonna start feeling bad before you start feeling good. If you start eating better, you're not gonna start feeling good already. You're gonna start by feeling hungry and feeling like really bad before you start feeling good. So same thing, if you come to America, if you leave your country to go to another country and you want to make your life better, it's not gonna start exactly like all rainbow. And that's how you know you're going to the right side. I remember when I came, I was looking for a job and I didn't get a job for the first 3 months I was here. The first 3 months I didn't have nothing. I was looking for a job everywhere. Kept on calling people, talking to people, asking them about jobs. And I know for sure that anybody that wanted to do something good, it always starts by something bad first. So, and that's actually it's called disruption. It's a concept that I learned. I didn't understand it at the time, but it's something I understand, and now I want to make sure that you understand too, so that when you see it happening, you know what's going on. So disruption always follows intention. Like I remember when you start to intend to do something good for yourself, something bad is always going to show up first. So anyways, one thing I'm going to teach you that I didn't learn. When I got here, when I was looking for universities, I got a university and it was expensive. I think it was $60K a year. And I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to be able to pay this? And $60K a year in your currency is probably a lot more. Now, my currency was way more, and we weren't even making that. So anyways, came here and I said, okay, how am I going to do it? And I started looking for a job. I didn't know where and everything, but before I even started like college, I realized that you don't need to go to a fancy college. At least if you're looking to graduate from a college that's fancy, you can still, but you don't need to go to that fancy college from the start. So there's something I learned when I came here, and I wish I knew since I was back in Tanzania, and that's basically you can go to a community college, and there's nothing wrong with community college. People think like, oh, you have to go to this nice college. Cool, it's good to have that name or whatever, but if you go to a community college and you still go and end up going to the college that you wanted to and finish up and get the degree, there's no difference. As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody cares if you did the community college, because it's the same thing that you're gonna get, and it's way cheaper. So that's what I learned too. So you start with a community college, that's where I started. And I remember, because the university, I think it was 60K, but with the community college, it was just 10K a year. So 10K, that means that's 5,000 a semester. So you can do a payment plan and you can get that down. That's what I did. So basically, first thing I did before even like going ahead when I first came, I realized that I could go to a community college, and I got taught this at the school. They told me you can go to a community college and then come back once you graduate, after 2 years, and then finish up the rest of the 2 years, because that's something you could do. So that's what I did first, and then from there, I was like, okay, so now this is the simple part that I'm talking about. So if you know it's 10K and you choose a payment plan, in a semester I think it's 4 months. So then it's $5,000 per semester, and if you divide that by 4, I remember my payments was like $1,300 a month almost. $1,300 a month. And with $1,300, now you got to figure out, okay, how am I going to be able to pay $1,300? So, you know, if you watch my other video where I talked about jobs that you could do that could pay under the table. Now, I could be getting in trouble right now because I don't know if people are allowed to make these videos. I'm making them because I know if someone had told me this, I would have been way better. So I'm just hoping to help somebody out there that right now they're thinking, or they already got their visa and they're about to come here, and they plan to take that pressure off their parents of paying their school fees and paying that themselves. I know this is not everybody. So if you're a person that wants to use your parents' money to pay for your school fees, totally go for it. I have nothing against it. But if you're a person like me that those days I knew that, okay, first of all, my parents can afford it, and second of all, I want to do something. So if you want to do something, this is part of the video for you. So anyways, $1,300, and then from there I said, okay, let me get a job. Now when I got a job, remember there's some things, if you have the desire to do this, remember there's some things you're probably gonna have to sacrifice. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're looking to get fit, you gotta sacrifice some, late night eating. You gotta sacrifice eating junk food all the time. So just like the same way as that, you gotta sacrifice something to do this. So what I remember sacrificing was, going out for, I don't know, fun. Like I don't think I've stepped foot in a club. I've only I don't know if I did that. Drinking, So anyways, but this is up to you. You can do that. If you want to do that, go ahead. But to make this easier for you so you can do it, you have to sacrifice some things. So anyways, it's $1,300, and I remember my job that I was working that maybe helped me to pay this. I was working at the car wash. And excuse the board. The reason I'm using the board is because it's easier for me to explain. And I used to do this when I was in Africa. I used to teach people math in class, and I always used the board, and I liked it. So I remember I worked the car wash. In the car wash, I was getting paid $6 an hour. And what I would do, because of the payment plans, one of the things that the community college would do is that they would let you, I don't know, right now the rules have changed a little bit, but they would let you enroll for classes and you can start the payment plan. Or sometimes for me, at the first time, they let me enroll for the class, and then I would just have to finish that payment before the next semester starts so I can be able to enroll for the next semester. So basically you had 5 months, not more than 5, because so you have the semester, then you have the summer holiday, you have all that time to be able to pay this off before school starts again. So now if you're working $6 an hour, and I don't know how much your rent is, my rent at that time, I found a place that I could stay, and I was paying $400 a month. So my rent was $400. If you are lucky enough to find a place where you can stay for free, even better. If you don't have a place to stay, I don't know. But if you find a place to stay, that's affordable. Don't go out, start living in campus. If you're living in campus, if you're living in campus, then this video is probably not for you, because, your parents are probably taking care of you. But then again, if you're living in campus and you still want to be able to help them, that's better. Then you don't have to pay the rent. So my rent was $400, and then from there, I made my math. This is the simple part. So you have the math. I know it's $6 an hour. So with $6 an hour, that means for me to make 1,300, what I did is I just counted per week. So per week, during the times where I had school, I would work 40 hours a week. 40 hours, and 40 hours I would make 240. Now, to this day, I'm always amazed on how I did it, but this is before I had a car. So with 240, you times that by 4. You times that by 4 in 1 month. That was 960. Now 960, if you take out the rent money, then you have 560. Oh my goodness. Remember how I don't know how I did it, but I know how I did it. How I did it was like now with the 560, and now if you take out groceries, for me I was getting food, I was making home cooked food. So I would buy stuff from Walmart, and I remember, let's just say out of the 560, I'm spending 100 for groceries, so 460. Now this was during school times. When I'm still going to school, I'm making 460. Now another thing I was doing at school was that I was tutoring people for math. So you tutor people for math, you get some extra money, and then after that, when school is closed, that's when you go crazy. Now this is something I actually don't condone nowadays that I know what I know, but it's something that if you're down to do, you can do it. So 460, then during the holidays, I would work 72 hours a week. 72 hours. The good thing about the car wash type of jobs, you can work a lot of hours because nobody wants to do them, first of all. Second of all, they open for a long time, so you can, if you're willing to do it and you have the energy, you can go crazy. So 72 hours a week, I remember that one times 6, I think my check was coming out to like 500. And remember, I didn't even count the tips, by the way. That's what I'm trying to understand, like 460. So you still get tips every day. So I don't know how much. And this is the hand car wash, not like automatic. So I don't know how hand automatic car wash works. I just know with hand car wash, that's where you get the most tips and you make more money. So with tips, I think I was breaking like 600 a week. And then times 4, that will give me 2,400. Then now I have 2,000. So 2,000 plus 4 for like a month or two, you'll be able to make the school fees of $5,000. And you know, later when you have now some extra money you save, you can buy a car and start doing like DoorDash. That's what I was doing. Oh, wow, DoorDash. So yeah, DoorDash is something you can do. So yeah, this video was really talking about, I kind of wrote everything, but it explains you can work and pay for yourself through college. One of the things I'm getting better with this YouTube thing is getting better at explaining. I don't think I did a good job here, and it's fine because I'll get better. So now in terms of like how I would have done it now would be a little bit different, because one thing I learned now since I've been here for a while was that it's actually easier to make a lot more money in a shorter period of time than it is to make a little bit of money in a longer period of time. Imagine I was working 72 hours a week. I was working 72 hours a week just to make $500. Now, like today, if someone was to tell me to do that, I'll be like, man, I can't do that. I won't. Not even I can't. I won't. So, how I would have done it now would be different, and I'm gonna show you something, because I know. As I'm telling you, like it's easier to make a lot more money in a short period of time. You're like, bro, what are you talking about? Because that's what I said when someone told me that. So, okay. So what do I mean when I say it's easier to make a lot more money in a short period of time than it is to make a little bit of money in a longer period of time? Well, first of all, because this is one thing we get lied to. Because time is not equal money. One of the things I grew up hearing a lot of people say, because in Tanzania we don't speak English as much, but when you do, you hear, time is money, man, time is money, hurry up. But that is a lie. Time is not money. Matter of fact, time is a lot more valuable than money. How can I prove it? If I told you I'll give you, okay, what's the amount that I can give you right now? Okay, let's say I give you $2,000 today and I'll write you a check and it will clear. And I told you, hey, do you want me to give you $2,000 right now? You say yeah. But if I give you a say, okay, but there's one condition only. And if I told you I'll give you the $2,000 if you die in a week, do you want it anymore? You don't. Why? Because you know that time is more valuable than money. Because if you have money and you don't have the time, the money you don't even want it anymore. So anyways, once you understand that, it helps you understand what I'm going to say. So basically, it's a lot easier to make a lot more money in a short period of time than it is to make a little bit of money in a longer period of time. So why? Because I learned this concept of the 4 levels of value. Now this is not my concept. I learned it from somebody else. His name is Myron Golden. You should search him up. But anyways, he talks about this diagram right here. He talks about the 4 levels of value. And by the 4 levels of value, he means if you make money in the lowest value, in the lowest level of value, you make a little bit of money. But if you make money up here, you might make more. So, what's the first level of value? The first level of value is, the lowest level of value is implementation. Now with implementation, what do I mean? This is the same thing I was mentioning, car wash. I worked at a car wash for 3 years. And I've never made more than, when I was a manager, I was making $12 an hour. And that was like on my last year. But the first 2 years, I was making $6 an hour. And all I was doing was washing cars, scrubbing, putting tire shine, drying them, and using my muscles to make time. And if you look at everyone that's making the money here, you can make from 0 to maybe 40K a year. 40K a year. I was making like $25,000 a year. This is my broke days. Like I'm talking about broke. I mean, the good thing is like I wasn't spending my money on stuff that, weird stuff. So even though I was making very little money, I was still able to survive. Next level of value is unification. Now with unification, this is where you use your management skills to make money. And this is basically, as I mentioned, when I was working at the car wash, I started with $6 an hour. And then after 2 years, when I got promoted to manager, suddenly it doubled to $12 an hour. But guess what? Do you think I was working more at $12 an hour? I was actually working less, because now what I had to do was manage people. It's crazy, right? So now from going to using my muscles and working a lot and getting tired, now all I had to do was just manage people, and I was making double what I made. That's literally an example right there. So, and managers, they can make from 40 to, on the upper end, I think you can make 100 a year, sorry. So from there, the third level of value is communication. Now this from here going up, this is where the real money is. So this is where, if I had knew this when I came to America, I would have went and started doing this. Because all you need to make money in communication is your mouth. Now here's a caveat, like Myron Golden says, you gotta have a mouth, but you gotta learn how to use it. Now how do you learn how to use it? You gotta learn a skill. One of the skills that you can learn with using a mouth to make money is sales. Now most people say they don't like sales, but sales is the best job you could do, because all you need is really talk. Like when I had my first sales job, I remember that was last year, February of last year, 2024. I remember I said, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm not working with my muscles anymore, because all I'm doing is just getting tired. Because I learned how to work hard, and I worked hard for a long time, but not for a long time. I'm 26, so if you're 30, maybe it's not a long time for you. For me, it was a long time. So what I said was, this is not sustainable. I'm not gonna do this for too long. So I got my first sales job, and I remember we were paid $40 for commission, and all we had to do was just stand in an airport or a supermarket and just pitch. And pitch, and if you pitch, you get one person, and if you end up talking to a person and selling, and you get $40 per commission. And I was like, okay. So anyways, went there, started learning, and I remember my first, on my second week, because I was like, man, I can get paid without sweating. That was my thing, because my thing was, I thought for me to get paid, I'll have to feel sore and be sweating. And I don't know if that's something you've wondered, because for me, that was always the case. So I remember working that day, and I remember on my second week, I think, I did $1,000 in commission. And I remember when I got my check, and I made $1,000 in a week. And that week, I remember I only worked 30, because I always counted my hours since I was used to working right here. I always counted hours. So I'd work 32 hours that week. And I said, I just made $1,000 for 32 hours? And all I did was just talk. I remember like thinking like, man, this is what I'm talking about. So anyways, that's how I learned about whole. So I can talk and make money. Now with sales, the good thing is there's levels to it. So if you learn how to sell and you get better and better in terms of like now selling for bigger profit, or bigger margins and bigger numbers, then you can make even more commissions. I think I was making $40 commission because what I was selling was a low ticket product. Now if you're selling something that's worth a lot more, you can make one sale and make $3,000. I mean, that's something you can do. Nowadays, that's kind of where I'm at. Right? If I'm selling one sale, I can get close to $1,000 per sale. So all you gotta do is do like maybe 4 a day, 4 a month, or 4 a week, and you're good for the month. So now it makes sense, like you can make a lot more money in a shorter period of time than making a little bit of money in a long period of time. Because the game with getting more money is really not about making more money per hour. It's really making money in the shortest period of time ever. The difference between a millionaire and the difference between me and you is basically how fast we make our money.